Doing out there, left lane here, come making another video. It's September 23rd, 2018. It's about 11:15 in the morning. It's the day after the Florida game. Obviously, I am very disappointed. I'm pissed off. I'm angry. I'm frustrated because this was a winnable game. This was a winnable game for Tennessee. And let me, before I get into anything, I want to state, Florida didn't beat Tennessee. No. They may have a victory in the win column, and Tennessee has a loss in the loss column, but I said Tennessee beat Tennessee. Florida's not that good of a team. Florida's not 4 touchdowns better than Tennessee. The stats sure don't show it. We gave this game away. That's what happened. Tennessee gave the game away. Two touchdowns at the beginning of the game were off turnovers inside our 30-yard line. We fumbled when we could have at least, if the guy would have at least held onto the ball, we could have possibly scored, had a chance to score. We fumbled in the red zone. Let me answer me this, okay? Jared was in the game. I believe this was the first half. We're driving. We're probably somewhere around the 30-yard line. And you bring in Keller. I have no problem bringing in Keller, but you don't bring in a new quarterback in the middle of a drive. And then he fumbles. Well, I don't think it was entirely his fault because the center didn't snap the ball correctly. He snapped it too low. There's the end of that drive. And then you fumble on the kickoff. There shouldn't be a fumble on the kickoff. You should be taking a knee every time. So, yeah, they gave this game away right there. There's 3 touchdowns right there, plus the one that we gave away where it was a touchback because the guy couldn't hold on to the ball inside the 5-yard line. Yeah, we gave the game away. Florida didn't beat us. Florida's not a good team. Kentucky proves that. So I'm going to get into stats, and then I want to touch on the Georgia game, and then I want to talk about a takeaway. I think there's only one takeaway from this game, and I'll get into that in just a little bit. Tennessee drops to 2-2, and Florida improves to 3-1. Time of possession was won by Tennessee, 34-25 to 25-35. We had 18 first downs. They had 14. 6 rushing, 6 passing, and 6 penalty. They had 7 rush, 6 pass, and 1 penalty. Something I've been preaching on for the last several weeks is third down conversions. 8 of 18. I was impressed with that. Of course, part of that was Florida's penalties, and I didn't actually write down the penalties for the game. But we were 8 of 18, that 44%. Florida was 3-11, that's 27%. We were 0 of 2 on 4th downs, and Florida was 0 of 0. Total yards, 354 to 373. Total plays, 79 to 53. 4.5 per play for us, and Florida had 7 yards per play. Rushing, 156 to 201. And we had 54 rushes, and they had 34. 2.9 per rush, 5.9 per rush for Florida. Passing yards, we won the passing yards, 198 to 172. We were 10 of 25, and they were 10 of 19. 7.9 per completion and 9.1 per completion. We had 2 sacks, and Florida had 1 sack. it was for 14 yards, and then Florida 1 for 10. Touchdowns, 2 touchdowns we had, and both were rushing. And then 6 for Florida, 3 rushing, and 3 passing. 5 turnovers. There's the stat of the game. 5 turnovers to 1. And it was actually more than that if you include the fumble in the end zone, where it was a touchback. So you could really say 6, but it was 1, or it was 5, I mean. So that puts us at a -3 for the year, officially, as we were +2, now we're -3. And then we had 1 interception. No, it was more than that. 3 fumbles and 2 interceptions. Some stats to go, individual stats. Jared Garantano was 7-18 for 164 yards and 2 interceptions. Kyler Christ was 3 for 7 for 44 yards. Ty Chandler 19 for 66. Madre London 11 of 66 for 1 touchdown. Jeremy Banks 8 of 25 for 1 touchdown. This is an issue for me. Florida is they're not a good defensive team, but they're a rough defensive team. And Jeremy Banks is your power runner. Ty Chandler's your speed back. You could probably classify Madre London as a speed back, but Jeremy Banks is your power runner. And the fact that he only had 8 carries, that's a problem for me. He needs to see the ball at least 18 to 20 carries a game. So I think that was a problem for me. He should have seen a lot more touches. Let's see. And then Marquez Callaway was 2 for 61. Juwan Jennings had 4 receptions for 60 yards. Props on that. It's good to see him getting some production again. Take some pressure off Callaway. And then Austin. Shoot, I can't read my own writing. The guy that fumbled in the end zone, 1 for 55. I apologize for not having his last name. Felipe Franks for Florida was 9 of 18 for 172 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jordan Scarlett was 11 for 77 and 1 touchdown. Damian Pierce was 7 of 63 for 1 touchdown. Kadarius Toney was 1 for 34. That was rushing, not passing. Felipe Franks was 9 of 11 with 1 touchdown. It was his first career touchdown rushing. Receiving, Freddie Swain was 2 for 88 for 1 touchdown. And then you had Tyree Cleveland was 2 for 43 with 1 touchdown. And then R.J. Raymond was 1 for 1 with 1 touchdown. And I believe that was his first career reception and touchdown. He was a fullback. As I mentioned, I think there's only one takeaway from this game that I think is a positive note. And that's Tennessee quarterback play. I think Kyler Christ is the quarterback for this year. It just seemed like when Keller was in there, our offense had like a different appeal. It's like they moved the ball and they scored. Now, I don't know if that was because of Florida just said, it's in the bag and put out their second string defense. But it just seemed to me like the offense just flowed so much better with him in the game. And he looked poised, he looked confident, where Jared is out there like he's scared. And Keller can throw on the run, and he threw a brilliant pass on the run. So I believe, in my opinion, that's the only positive thing to take away from this game. Because other than that, it's bad. I mean, it's bad. 2 sacks for the defense. I mean, that was good, but it wasn't enough. I mean, I've talked from day one, from game one. I want to see improvement from game to game to game, and I didn't see that tonight. I saw a team go backwards. I saw this team go backwards, and now there was a lot of emotion from Pruitt, which I like, because I want a coach that's passionate. I want a coach that when things aren't going your way, he gets upset and he gets emotional. That shows that he actually gives a damn about what's going on, and not just sitting there clapping his hands like a knot on a log. But the thing that I have to keep in mind, and everyone should keep in mind, is that this is a young team. This is a rebuilding, and I know that's been said year after year after year, but when you have a caliber coach of Jeremy Pruitt, and he's bringing in the blueprint from Alabama, this man has been successful everywhere he's been, as a head coach, as a defensive coordinator. Even he was successful at the high school level. He's won everywhere he's been, and I don't think this is going to be any different. It's just going to be more of a challenge because he doesn't have the cream of the crop. He has, in this league, you can't take chicken shit and make chicken salad. When you have chicken shit, you have chicken shit, and you're going to make chicken shit. That's just fact. We have to give him time to get recruits in here and develop them. I said, because he's not going to do it with Butch Jones's players. So we have to be patient. I'm not going to give up on him. Now, if this is year 3, if this happened in year 3, then there would be some concern. But I said right now, and I know it's hard, and I know it's difficult to stick with Coach Pruitt in times like this, but it's year 1. We have to stick with him. We have to support this team through this, because things will get better with Pruitt. He wants to be successful. He is going to be successful. It's going to be rough. I said, bowl game, well, I don't really think that's going to be an option this year. 5-7 is hopeful. I don't see it right now. This team is going to have to improve, and they're going to have to improve quickly. Now, as far as next week, there's really not much to review. We're going to go down to Athens, Georgia, and they're going to pull our pants down, and they're going to take us behind the woodshed, and they're going to beat our asses. I said, if we could make it respectable, well, that ain't going to happen. After what I saw tonight or last night, that's not going to happen. They're going to take us to the woodshed, and they're going to beat us like a redheaded stepchild. No offense to anyone. That's just what's going to happen. And I know I've been wrong twice before, Florida, West Virginia. Well, I said the West Virginia game came down to one thing, and that was an inability to stop the pass. And tonight it was turnovers, or last night was turnovers. You can't turn a ball over 5 times and expect to win. It just doesn't happen. Not in this league. Maybe in another league. Maybe in the Conference USA or some lower caliber conference. But you can't do it in the SEC. It's just not going to happen. So there's my thoughts on the game. I just hate to say it, but next week we're going to get our asses beat. Plain and simple. It's going to be embarrassing. I don't think we'll get shut out like we did last year, but it's, maybe a touchdown, maybe a field goal, but it's going to be bad. So I wish I was more positive, but right now there's not much to be positive about. So I appreciate y'all watching. hit like, hit subscribe, and we'll see you next time.